Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Jacquelene and this is Soulstar Radio on the A1R network. I'm just flipping my screens around so I can see what on earth I'm doing and trying to read stuff. Oh, no, didn't work. Okay. This is actually quite funny if you watch this. You can't see what I'm doing, but I assure you it's really quite ridiculous. I am joined on the couch by my special guests, the cat, and Cookie is wandering around here somewhere as well. So they may or may not join in the show and possibly show us their base chakra, which is something they like to do. Oh, well. So now we've got some people saying hi on the chat screens. We've got, now let me just see this. Well, Dave is watching us. But we've got Yvonne, hi, Joe, Eileen, Carmel, Joe again, Yvonne again, more Joe, and we've got Therese. Therese Ann. So hello to all of you and hello to everybody else watching as well. It's been quite an entertaining week, month and possibly year. And so today I'm going to do some readings, which I promised to do last week, but we were kind of out in the middle of the outback. Hello, Heidi Rose. Yes, she's there too. Connect with us on A1R Radio and certainly with me. You can find me on Facebook as well if you're looking. You can find Soulstar Radio with Jacquelene. Just type it in Soulstar Radio with JAC and it'll find me, I reckon, because I don't reckon there's too many Soulstar Radios, although that said, there's many people with many dreams out there, I think I'll call it. But in the meantime, had a lovely weekend last week at Yarrawonga. We were at the Spiritual and Psychic Expo. Really pumping event. Lots of fantastic architecture up there, I would say, and wonderful lake. The view of the lake was beautiful. And to be joined by special friends and meeting a lot of new clients and wonderful people up there. It was really quite fabulous. So, next week we're going to be going to Morwell in Victoria. The week after that, we're in Wagga Wagga, New South Wales, and the week after that will be the federal election in Australia. Gotta love that, hey? Why not? I mean, you've got to love something. So, we're going to be, deciding which politics we hate less than the other politics or love more, possibly. Yeah, hate's a bad word. Is it? I don't know. So it's just about who we really want to have representing in our country, but you sort of look at the choice and you go, I don't know. So it's interesting because Gough Whitlam in Australia was voted in on the 18th of May as well in 1975. That was the year of the wood rabbit. You can see how things got interesting after that. So we got that, and then the following week there's going to be Cranbourne Expo. We've got expos in Wantirna. We've got there's going to be a fantastic winter feast at Crail Castle in Ballarat. I'm looking forward to in August. You may catch me jousting or possibly just wearing the chainmail, if you know what I mean. There goes my cat. So just be prepared. We may get visited. You're standing off to the side now. Anyway, we've got callers. And what I'll say as well is I had Yvonne there. If you're still watching, Yvonne, she put her date of birth up there earlier, and ordinarily we're supposed to just go straight to the callers, aren't we? And I do want to thank Deanna for being very patient there. But with Yvonne, I'll just quickly say for you, it's an action-packed brand new year for you. There's a lot more coming out where you get to live your life more authentically, and I think you're sort of like regaining your own power here. And the card that was where we're going, was actually the Truth card in Raul Estevez's Guiding Star of Life card. Now, hilariously, what happened with the card of what's happening right now was actually the card I'm not supposed to leave in the deck. So it was the actual card that gives the instructions on how to read the deck. So what's happening for you right now, of course, is you're literally getting the instructions in your life, and you're looking at how you want to redo things and, trying to fork in the road. Where am I? What am I doing? Which direction shall I take? So the thing about that is it can actually be a wonderful period when you don't know where the heck you are, except that you're standing on the crossroads, because then all possibility is there. The problem is if you're sort of wanting the immediacy of, but where to now and tell me and give me a triplicate, sometimes you have to allow things to just sit for a minute before we maybe select which of those directions. Hopefully my cats won't fight. They're looking a bit aggressive. A bit like when you're on the crossroads. You can sort of be, should I go this way and should I bite someone? I don't think you're biting anyone, by the way, Yvonne. So truth card, that's the future. And the last card on that deck that sort of spoke as well was gratitude. And I do think you approach things with gratitude. It's just going to be this situation, I think, where people are actually showing more gratitude to you. And yes, the message also is gratitude brings you happiness, because if you're not still holding a grudge or holding on to the past experience, then you're going to be more grateful, but you're also going to be more open to more helpful things coming your way. So I hope that helps you there in your sort of quest there, Yvonne. You can connect to me on my Soul Star Radio page as well. Let's see if you come through as a caller. Now I've got a Facebook ad coming up. How did that happen? Anyway, back to the scope screen. We've got the wonderful Deanna in Key West, Florida. Are you there, Deanna?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good, thank you, darling. It's good to speak to you. I certainly can. Can you hear me, though? That's the question.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Brilliant. It's good to hear you, and I also start with a date of birth usually for doing readings. It stops me from reading people in the cheese aisle, usually soft cheese, in the supermarket. So I'm just wondering if you were happy giving me your date of birth, and I can do that reading for you if you'd like.
Yes, September 2nd, 1971.
So September 2nd, 1971. I'm just checking that that's correct?
Yes, September 2nd, 1971. Correct.
Brilliant. Got it. Okay. So with your energy at the moment, it's like you can feel a bit like you're going through the rinse cycle here. And it's like if we think of the rinse cycle in the washing machine, everything's getting tumbled around and it's okay. Well, where am I going? Yeah, okay, so we'll try our best to get you hearing the reading. And if not, you can always connect to me privately on the Soul Star Radio page, and I can write the rest of that out for you. In the meantime, for our viewers and hopefully for you listening as well there, Deanna, we'll be able to get you, able to hear what I'm saying. So what I've really got with your energy, I feel, as I said, it's like the rinse cycle. We're going through a lot of change. You can feel very tossed around by the situation around you, and I feel like the thing is that it's just about holding on to the centre or holding on to your centre at this point in time, rather than trying to deal with the externals or what other people are thinking and what they might do, even though that might be exactly what you're wanting to know. So it is a case of having to go back to the basics here, having to kind of allow for the change that's going on. There's certainly been a lot of it in this last year, and it's like there's no stone left unturned here now, because it's like, we've investigated all of the options, and now we just have to be, pretty much just holding to the core or holding to the centre of what's actually important here, rather than, I guess, trying to deal with all the extremities or, as I said before, what other people think, external factors. It's about getting back to the centre and the core of what's actually important to you, how you're feeling, what the important messages are for you, rather than the everyone else, if that makes sense to you.
It does.
Yeah, it does. Good. Okay. Now, was there a particular question you wanted me to look at for you today, darling?
Relationship. There's actually a couple. Relationship and my health. Relationship and my health.
Yep. That's okay. I'm really hearing in that voice of yours, it's like a lot of exhaustion there, both emotionally and physically. I would wonder about the emotional space to do with the heart, how we're feeling in that space. I've got the card that came out was actually forgiveness. There's two cards before that, wisdom and faith, and then the middle card is what's right now, what's helping you right now is forgiveness. So I think, sometimes releasing the energy out of the heart, releasing the held past events, experiences, letdowns, things that people have hurt us with is really important at the moment. When we're dealing with the health and even dealing with the relationship. So it's like you have to be, really freeing up some of that energy in there. And I would sort of wonder about, that whole chest area, whether there are certain essential oils that will help with that. Certainly homeopathics will help with that. But I would really also be working on the releasing of that. So whether that's through crying, whether that's through screaming and throwing plates, that's always handy. Maybe not the expensive ones. There's places you can go and actually throw plates, by the way. So, I'd sort of be open to different ways of venting that out. I was taught years ago in certain spiritual development circles that an exercise you can do is actual deep sighing. And that's where you sigh the energy out. So it's like this, and it's real release of that energy, and that would actually be a way of releasing some of this for you. What I've got coming up is there's a great freeing coming up. It's about allowing freedom for yourself and about breaking free. So where you felt as if you don't have mobility or you don't have agency to get things moving in your life, it's like there's a great freedom coming, that's going to help you find your purpose and your clarity again. That's something that I come back to what I was saying with Yvonne before. It's really interesting, this whole thing of having to be sitting with yourself a lot here, not just what the other person thinks. It's not a question of whether we're good enough. Often as women, we're sort of wondering, well, what was wrong with me? What did I not do enough of? And sometimes that's not what it's really about at all. I do feel there's a very helpful relationship that I'm connecting with here. I'm just not sure that that's the present one right now at all. But I feel like there's a helpful relationship in the future where you actually feel heard. So if you're in a relationship right now where you're not feeling heard, that won't be it. If you are in this, if the relationship you're talking about right now is the new one where you are feeling heard and it's very different to what you've experienced in the past, then that will be it. But I'm just not feeling like you're staying anywhere where you feel as if you're sort of trapped or that you're having to repetitively make excuses for the other person, if that makes sense to you.
It does. I'm engaged. I just don't know if he's the one.
I don't think you would allow yourself to be engaged if he wasn't the one. However, I understand your uncertainty in asking that question because there's been a lot going down of recent last few months, particularly the last 4 to 5 months here, and particularly also around extended family. So I would be saying that, it's about whether you're feeling heard or not will give you a heck of a lot of clues. You need to feel that you have freedom and agency in the relationship that you're in, because the long-lasting one is one where you have that. If you're not in that relationship I'm talking about, and if you're not relating to the relationship you're in as being the one I'm talking about, then I would really think about that. But, this is down to a really personal choice for you. But it's about feeling free, about feeling open, that you've got open and truthful discussion. That's a two-way street here. That's going to be the key. So it's going to be about listening to yourself, yes, but also about listening to the cues you have coming from your partner. And how are you speaking to your partner as well? Are you also listening to them and giving them freedom? And is there trust there? That's the sort of things you need to really be looking at here. That ability to work together, it's the most important thing you can have in a relationship. And I do feel there is a lot of that there. I do think there's been a lot, as I said, going on the last 4 to 5 months, if that makes sense to you. And I think that's been really heavy. But relationships are not always a glowing, shining light of happiness in every moment where there's never a problem. It's about whether you can work through the problems together equally, if that makes sense to you. And I do feel there is a quality there with this person, but I do think that there's been certainly patterns of relationships in the past where that has not been the case. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, and so the guy you're with now listens to you, doesn't he?
He does. To a certain extent. Well, it's just, I'll be honest with you, where we live, I want to move and he wants to stay.
I think that's going to be one you're going to have to work out because both of you seem very set in your ways regards that. You have to work out how important moving actually is, in the grand scheme of things, what it is that makes both of you happy and both of you feel like you're living your best lives. Sometimes there's compromises to make, but you should never compromise on who you are. And I would say the worst compromise to make would be compromising who you are, even if I live 5 minutes down the road from the person. It's about being able to make choices that both of us can be happy with in our life. And I think that's the thing to weigh up. And you'll know the answer to that one. Hold to the core of what's important. Make sure you're feeling you've both got your freedom here. And as I said, there's the listening. Listening is one of the most important things you can do in a relationship after trust. So, I think we've got trust here. I think in past relationships for you there wasn't trust. And in past relationships, there's a lot less listening going on. So I would really encourage you to work on that and think about it. And I really wish you the best with that, Deanna, and thank you so much for your call. So now we've got another caller on the line. We've got Lorena from Sydney. And before I go to her, I'm just having a look here. Yvonne says yes, and then I'm not quite sure what she's saying there after that, but it's thank you very much. So thank you, Yvonne. You can certainly message me privately later because I'm not quite sure what that's all about, and it's fine to privately message me that on Soulstar Radio page if you're trying to find me there, Yvonne. So thank you for that. Thank you also to Deanna, who could relate to what I was saying, but she's obviously in a bit of conflict there. Now, next we've got Lorena in Sydney. Are you there, Lorena?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello, and thank you for your call. And I can start a reading for you with your date of birth if you would like.
Yes, if you don't mind.
Go for it. Your date of birth?
Is the 29th of September, 1962.
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. And thank you for calling into A1R Psychic Radio on the Soulstar Radio page today. Now, with your energy, there's a lot about having to weigh and measure and balance things, and it's like you're really helpful to other people who are feeling quite lost in their lives at different points. And it's not that that's what you're wanting to always do, of course, but I do sort of see that function going on with you quite a bit here. It's been a very busy start to the year, a lot of changes going on here, but it's like a lot of busyness, a lot of having to weigh things up and work out, well, what's the next step with all of this is what I'm really seeing here with you. And you're very, very good at it's all about being fair and reasonable and just with you. And I think that you're very good at advocating for other people, but sometimes you need to sort of stop, smell the roses, take a deep breath. Okay, right, what's true for me now? What next steps do I need to take? And I feel like your life goes on these different evolutionary periods where you're sort of spending one period of your life living this way and doing that career, and then we're going off to this stuff over here, and you can be really, really hyper-focused in what you're doing in a given moment, and then you're able to, sort of have to breathe and relax and, go and do very different things. So there'd be different sides to the way you sort of work versus live and all that sort of thing. And it's all about balance is what I'm seeing here with that. So it's like you'll go way over into the focus stuff and then way over into more the relaxation or creative in some way, and sort of fun and silly. And I sort of feel like that's a good balance for you. But this year's been just really, I'm just sort of seeing it as a reassessing from last year. Rebalancing and very, very busy this year, a lot of opportunities, but which ones do I take and where do I go with it? And on some levels you can feel a bit stagnated or stopped, and on the other levels it's like it's all go and go and go. So there's going to be different areas moving at different speeds in your life at the moment is how I would kind of see this. Now, was there a question you wanted me to look at for you today?
Well, what I'm concerned about is, there's a couple of things I'm concerned about. One is as in my love life, and also in my career is the other focus that this is what's been going through my mind career-wise, and also as in my private life, my love life.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. So with the career particularly, I would see a massive change there. I think it's actually a good one, not a bad one. That's where I'm seeing some of the stagnancy, but out of the stagnancy can come a lot of change if we're flexible. So it's really about being flexible at this point in time. To me, it's like a change in career or a change in what work you're doing or how you're doing it. So can you relate to that sort of coming to a bit of a full stop, and it's like options are there, but, which way do I go? But feeling a bit stuck, and it's like, okay, because I'm sort of seeing this change in direction with you.
Yeah, well, look, I'm in a job because I took it. It was available, but I do want to go in a whole different career, which is what I wanted to go into, more one-on-one with people or even motivating people, because as you've read or found out, I tend to help a lot of people. People come to me for advice or...
they certainly do. They really, truly do. Yep.
They turn to me and I try to give them a positive outlook in life and be there for them. But, you know, the circle changes when it's sort of that I need someone there. Yeah, look, I've got a couple of close friends that are around me. But, because I've been through it and I can understand how that and relate to it. Yeah, so
definitely you can. You definitely can. I think it makes perfect sense to me, and I would definitely see study there. It's never too late for that. I would really be saying that there are some things, some trainings you can compress, so you're not needing to draw out the biggest, longest course on some things here. There are some where we're able to take in a way, prior life experience learning, but also it's like there are some elements of what you're going to do here that don't require a full degree or master's. We might just need a diploma in this, or a short course in that, and then we may choose that other area that really does need a lot of study, and that's where you put it in. And so it's just about working out literally what the priorities are on what level and depth of training you need for each area, because I do see this as multidisciplinary, if that makes sense to you. Yep. So, you know, that would definitely be an important thing for you. Yeah, because you're very intuitive, and it's just about also blending in that sort of real world, real life stuff with the intuitive and then with the intellectual stuff that we need to take on board to properly accredit you in the way you're wanting to work here. And I do see that as it's like your whole new life, you know, coming out of that. And I think it's going to be very rewarding for you. So I think I want to fully encourage you to do that. You got a very rich tapestry that has been your life. It hasn't always felt that way, but it's really been, you know, amazing in how resilient you are and how you've learned from these sorts of things and the experiences you've had in your life. So I really want to encourage you to use that, because people can feel in you when it's real. When you've really been through something, you know, people are going to relate that much more, which is why people who are simply working out of a textbook per se, it's like, yeah, hey, lady, I'm not feeling it. You know, whereas with you, people are going to feel that.
Yeah, look, I've had people around me that sort of judge what's on the outside and not realise what's going on the inside.
Oh, there's a lot going on the inside.
It's a bit frustrating.
My darling, there are a lot of people who will relate to you and do see what's in the inside, and that's the thing that you're going to find that people do relate to you with. You know, and I think that the types of people you're having around you will change, and over time people will start to see what's inside on the outside a lot more, regardless of how you may feel you appear, and certainly how your experience has been with other people. That's how I would really honestly see this, because you've got a lot to offer there, darling. I can feel it from here. And I just want to really encourage you to work with that and to keep flowing with it. There's a lot of generosity of spirit in you. And I think the thing is that, you know, your future path is all about healing. So, you know, that's something to encourage. And I do see abundance with that and the ability to feel like you're in the right place. And as you say, you've got people around you who do get it. You know, they do get it. And there's going to be a lot more coming around you over time. Relationships, it feels like that's been a really rocky sort of path and road here. It's not always easy. Sometimes there's misunderstandings. And I think the thing is you've had to really work on your boundaries on what and who you allow around you to what degree. And I think that that's been a big sort of learning curve in your life. And I do think that you're coming to be a lot more at peace with how you are in that area. I think it's still a learning curve and it's still a lot you're going on with there. But, you know, I'm just seeing a lot of healing with that. When I look at relationships, you know, the card that came out was rebirth. And it's interesting because it came in upside down. So the card first come up here upside down. So it came in that way, and then I turned it around and it's like rebirth. So there's a rebirth and a reboot in how you're relating, but also the types of friendships, relationships and all of that you're having come around you. But when we're looking at relationship for you, the quickest answer there is this is a rebirth for you. And there is a lot of healing going on with that as well. So, I really want to encourage you to follow your dreams here and just live in that. And remember that you are a beautiful soul. The last card on the deck that came out there as well was a card that's actually called Beauty. It's nothing else sees beauty like an unexpected blue butterfly crossing your path. It's all about really trusting that energy of yours and going with it. So I'm just seeing your future in love certainly being a lot better than the past. So I wish you the very best there. Thank you all for catching up with us today, and I'm wishing you the very best. If you want to connect with me, find me on Soulstar Radio. And in the meantime, I'm going to wish you a lovely week, and you can see the rest of the shows on A1R Psychic Radio tonight. In the meantime, lots of love. Bye.